And join us now with the latest on the government funding battle, Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas. He is co-chair of the House DOGE Caucus. Thank you for joining us and and welcome. It's good to see you, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
I guess if
good morning. It's a delight to be with you.
And it's good to have you on as well. If you have an empathy for what DOGE is going to try to do, I can imagine that maybe you thought there was a little too much pork in the deal that Speaker Johnson had put together.
Well, without doubt, the American public jumped in as well, President Trump. If you're going to be successful at these year-end deals, they need to be very refined and simple. Winners do things to win. And part of that winning equation is do what you have to do to get across the goal line. We are in a very interesting time where it's not only close, but Speaker Johnson had little room to pivot. And evidently he pivoted with an agreement that was bipartisan. And what that turned into was a fight within not just our own party. As the co-chairman of DOGE, I will tell you that we want to make every single item stand on its own. We are not interested in putting them into a large package. We are not interested in adding to that deliverance right now. And that's what the feeling was that came across, is that Speaker Johnson added things that were extraneous to simply funding the government.
And I guess that winning is different things to different people. Averting a shutdown is probably, in the Speaker's eyes, what he was trying to do in terms of winning. So in his view, that was the way to go about this. What do you think we should do as an alternative to make sure that we do get something accomplished if we have no support or backing from the other side?
It will require us to make it simply what is commonly called a clean CR. A clean CR runs the government. It does the essentials and basics. Yes, there are some things that need to be added. We need to be prepared for the inaugural. We need to probably be prepared, and this is a point that perhaps President Trump made, of doing something about the debt limit. The debt limit is going to require every single Republican to vote for it to pass it. So what we're doing is putting together the package that can pass now. Next year is not necessarily going to be any easier. So we may as well work as the team and take out the things which cause division, and for it to appear to the American people that we are struggling in what we do. We must bring stability. We must bring certainty. And that's part of what DOGE is about in working next year with the president and his administration. Things will be highlighted. We will have the discussion with the American people, and then we'll have an up or down vote on each of those individual items. I think that Speaker Johnson, certainly in the package, brought in many things that were extraneous to that, and that caused the downfall.
Chairman Sessions, at this point, the Republicans don't control the Senate. So even if something passes through the House, you still have to go through a democratically controlled Senate. How do you do that? Or do you figure that this is just going to be pressure and you figure if you pass it in the House, then it's going to be the Democrats who own the shutting down the government until the inauguration?
Well, I think if you follow what I think needs to be done, it's a skinny must-do bill where you fund the government, you become prepared for what would be the inauguration, you thank your members, you send a clean CR directly across the hall, they see it for what it is. They, too, I'm sure, see a responsibility of stability as we do. The name of the game is to pass the bill and then deal with the president and the new things that happen next year. But you're exactly correct. Evidently, the speaker brought that equation into it, that he was trying to pass a partially Senate bill. We really can't do that in the House. We never really have. We don't pass necessarily bipartisan end-of-year deals. You pass what you can pass, then give it to the other body. Article 1, Section 7 gives us that authority and responsibility.
So let's say they don't take you up on it and the government shuts down. Who's going to be blamed?
Well, let's get away from blame and go to what you've got to pass.
It's politics.
We'll both be blamed. Well, okay, I've been in politics a long time, and we have a responsibility to pass our bill. And a clean CR is one that the American people would understand and could sustain. And a clean CR would be something that even Chuck Schumer would understand. Let them put the things that they would need in the bill, and then let's get together very quickly and compromise. But we have to pass our bill. That's a responsibility that the House of Representatives has.
Do you think it's going to be easier to get everybody on board with the president-elect, you know, breathing down their backs, so to speak?
What I do think is next year we have the authority and responsibility, by being in the majority, that we have to pass that. And that does include a debt limit, which is perhaps the hardest, next to a budget, the hardest vote that's ever taken in Washington, D.C. And we agreed to take the ball where it landed, on the course, and we agreed to make it better. Our point about DOGE is that it brings in the realistic viewpoint that we've got to do two things. Number one, make the government work more effectively. The president has never been more, we've never had a person more prepared to be president. Now, some could argue Jefferson and maybe Washington, but I think Donald Trump has his hand on what it's going to take to give stability and bring the American people and government back in line with expectations of people and the cost element. This government costs too much money. We have government workers sitting at home, a huge number of government workers still at home, and government is not working. So DOGE is government efficiency. We will then gather together, certainly with the outside titans that have a say in this, and we're going to run it through the American people and then hope that we can reduce the cost of government while we make it efficient. So, no, it's not going to get easier. And next year, every single Republican, no matter which body, is going to have to be on board.